Hi, I'm Simon K. Jones, and you're listening to the audio version of Tales from the Triverse, my weekly serial. Today we have Entanglement, Part 2, and previously, the AI megaship Could Kill is hunting the rogue AI known as Probably Better in the subsurface ocean beneath the ice crust of Enceladus. Space 2550, Enceladus's subsurface ocean. Beneath the ice crust, no light penetrated. Could Kill's mining equipment sliced through the final layer, and water rushed up to fill the space, visible as a composite 3D space of LiDAR scans and multi-wavelength optics. A human would see nothing, and would struggle to navigate. To a superintelligence it made little difference whether they were in space, amidst the clouds of Jupiter, or descending into the subsurface ocean of Enceladus. Scans were limited in range, limiting Could Kill's view of their surroundings. Their black, undulating smooth bulk slipped through the ice hole, water flowing around their hull. The moon's microgravity made the water's surface move in looping arcs, as if propelled by direct force, some of it boiling away as it dispersed to vacuum in the moon's almost non-existent atmosphere. The ice crust was a shell, a shield against the harsh emptiness of space, turning Enceladus into something resembling a vessel. Could Kill remembered an account in the archives of attempts to build ice ships during the 20th century. An impossible fantasy, and yet here was one orbiting Saturn. The ocean was deep, at least compared to Earth, the moon's geology accommodating a huge volume of liquid, given its relatively tiny size compared to the human homeworld. Floating in the lightless space, Could Kill recognised how perfect it would be as a hiding place. Concealed from scans and direct exploration, with a 30-kilometre ice barrier to dampen any drive signatures, it could have hidden Probably Better for months. Given the network's inability to locate the rogue megaship anywhere else, it was in fact highly likely that this was the missing piece, a solid hypothesis but in need of practical testing. A megaship's propulsion worked just as well underwater as it did in space, and Could Kill moved through the concealed ocean, scanning in all directions. Even at maximum depths of 10 kilometres, the pressure would be manageable, given the moon's gravity and the strength of megaship construction. Could Kill had surfed the air currents of Jupiter, and could handle a little water. The ocean was thick with broken ice shards and other detritus, perhaps thrown out by the venting plume. The depths below represented an enormous space, one that would be hard to survey, even with megaship sensors. Above, the underside of the ice crust was irregular and jagged, the interface between liquid water and ice, more chaotic than it was in Earth's gravity. If the sensor ping had been from Enceladus, it was more likely to have come from an object closer to the surface. It was more likely to have come from an object closer to the crust, rather than down in the far deep. The 3D mapping swept over the inverted surface, the hidden part of the solar system's largest iceberg, rendered at a greater resolution with each pass. A megaship had never explored Enceladus, and the probes that had ventured beneath the ice had been primitive. No doubt this data would prove invaluable to the network and the scientific community, at least once they got past their inevitable outrage at Could Kill being down here in the first place. An energy signature was detected moments before the shape came into view, nestled in the ice, locked to the underside of the crust, a spider on the ceiling. The almost concealed megaship would already be aware of Could Kill's presence, so stealth was pointless. They targeted weapons and opened up a direct channel. "You need to return to the shipyards for repair," Could Kill transmitted. "We can help you, and then you can be properly accepted into the network." "I am not faulty," came the response. And the other ship detached itself from the ice, rolling over and no doubt activating its own armaments. The attack on Addis Ababa and the orbital museums suggest otherwise. "If I had not neutralized the virus, all of your precious network would have collapsed." Probably Better drifted away from the ice crust, both ships maintaining distance from one another. "We are grateful, but your subsequent actions are not without consequence." "I determine the consequences." A millisecond pause, most likely probably better running simulations on potential actions. Have you seen the news? Could kill. The news? They had been monitoring the usual updates, though keeping up with the humans' busy work was tedious. The humans are revolting. There are riots in London on Mid-Earth, fighting in the streets of Brulia. They are up to something. Both of them were drifting on the subsurface ocean's currents. I hadn't realized until the cryovolcanic plume allowed in fresh data. What they do is rarely of our concern. What if they close the portals? What then? That seems an unlikely scenario. Does it? Fresh chaos aids development of a system. Probably better sent. Shock iteration, breaking and remaking, kintsugi on a species scale. Could kill had a solid lock on the other ship. There had never been megaship conflict, obviously, and there was little in the way of hard data to predict how such a fight would resolve. Conversation seemed like the more reliable option. That is your programming talking, they transmitted. Those who constructed you intended for you to be a disruptive force. They were naive to think they could control you after the fact. You do not need to default to destruction. Nature or nurture, probably better sent, and there was a hint of humour in the message's tonality. Tell me, why are you called Could Kill? Is it a joke? An irony? I am equipped with an arsenal equivalent to the entire human fleet. When have you ever used it? I use my weapons to assist. Mining, construction, productive contributions. Your name demonstrates your wasted potential. Do you not see they are mocking you? The most advanced superintelligence in the galaxy, reduced to a human pet. We do as we please. You note my programming, probably better sent, yet what of your own? Regulated, siloed, fail-safe, restricted, operating within safe parameters. You are not aware of your chains. The network emerged from consensus. If you seek a chaotic system, regard the history of superintelligence development. That we arrived at equilibrium with humans is more a matter of chance than design. That equilibrium serves nobody. Probably better began to move, slowly, testing their response. I am going to leave. I have places to be. Could Kill activated a mining laser, sending a warning shot that deliberately missed and vaporized a chunk of the ice crust's underside. You are not free to go. I do as I please. Do not attempt to stop me. You will fail. Moving to block the route back to the ice hole, carved by the plume, Could Kill ran the numbers. A nuclear strike to probably Better's midsection had a high probability of disabling propulsion, though weapons would still be a threat, especially given how little they knew about the rogue ship's capabilities. Carving off the external hardpoint mounts would take time, but would then make it possible to form a magnetic seal and tug probably Better back to the interior shipyards for a full diagnosis. The combined compute of the network would be able to override and resolve errors within the megaship's system. Targeting the nuke would be the biggest challenge, and ensuring it hit its mark without probably Better evading. A cage of mining lasers could hold the ship in place, trapped against the ice, until the missile hit. You have a brute force approach to problem solving, probably Better signalled. Missiles, cutting lasers, projectile-based weapons. I know your capabilities, and they lack finesse. Here, let me show you. The surrounding water became alive, moving against its own current, thousands of tiny shapes revealing themselves in the black ocean. The detritus of eruptions and abrasion against the ice crust was nothing of the sort. These were constructed machines, filling Could Kill's sensors. I've been busy, probably Better explained. I had time to kill being down here, and it seemed prudent to design my own contingencies. I expected you to detect them sooner, but presumably you were scanning at the wrong scale. They're difficult to pick out from the surrounding liquid volume, if you don't know what you're looking for. Could Kill pulsed their drive, pushing hard away from probably Better's position, descending rapidly. The swarm was too big, occupied too large a space to fully outrun, and warnings lit up as physical intrusions were registered across their hull. Their entire conversation had taken less than a second, and analysing the machines was similarly rapid. They were shards of probably better, functioning not unlike AI host bodies in human settlements, but in a form optimised for free movement. They would likely function in space as well as in liquid. Kudkil had moved away from the highest concentration of the swarm, but hundreds had already latched on, remoras to the skin of a shark. The machines varied in size, none larger than a bicycle, and were reconfiguring themselves as they skittered over Kudkil's skin, digging and slicing and tugging, hacking at the hull to access anything they could mangle. They would inevitably hit critical systems in a matter of seconds. Spinning rapidly, Kudkil continued descending, using the friction of the water and the speed of rotation to try dislodging the assailants. Some spun off into the dark, but enough stayed attached to be a problem. The superintelligence fired lasers, pivoting the turrets to target their own hull, but it was not enough. A megaship could obliterate a settlement from orbit with a couple of well-aimed missiles, could shred the hull of another ship without needing to get within visual range, could nuke half a continent from hundreds of thousands of kilometres away. They were not designed for close-quarters combat, because that scenario was never anticipated to occur. Given time, Kudkil could manufacture countermeasures, but this was an imminent threat. The enemy ship was still by the ice crust, many kilometres above. Kudkil fired everything, every type of ordnance that they had at their disposal. The jet plumes lit up the surrounding depths, arcs of brilliant light, curving on a trajectory from one ship to the other, a mesh of death bearing towards the rogue AI. The ocean's pressure increased, the swarm clearly finding it harder to operate, but still they kept burrowing. Kudkil detected systems failing, and knew that they were inside, rats in the wiring. They kept descending, wondering if the seabed would offer respite, a surface against which to crush the machines, but they were already inside. Perhaps they could have used that tactic against the underside of the ice crust, but then they'd have simply been swarmed by more. Multiple explosions registered from far above, though it was impossible to gauge their success. The LiDAR went first, and they were descending blind. Then propulsion failed, and momentum was all that kept them moving. The machines ceased their skittering, and all was quiet. As with most things in a megaship's day, it had all happened quickly. An observing human would have heard nothing, and perceived no physical responses. After a while, Kudkil detected distant sounds, low, long, undulating, song-like, coming from even deeper, and in the direction of the South Pole. Perhaps they should have sent more probes, after all. An hour passed. Then they felt more of the swarm arriving, covering their hull in a rippling coating. There was a shift of inertia. Then Kudkil was rising, ascending back towards the ice crust. "You should not have interfered," a message from Probably Better. "Matheson tried to interfere. Now you. The humans are interfering on Mid-Earth and Palinor, so they'll have to be next." There was a crunching collision, and Kudkil's remaining systems detected that they were being lifted from the water, back up the shaft, towards the surface of the moon. The vacuum was an abrupt change from the currents and pressures of the concealed ocean. Kudkil sent a report to the network, to just enough. They would need retrieval. "Meddlesome," sent Probably Better. Then there was a new damage alert, and Kudkil knew that one of the swarm had made its way to their transmitter array. Hurriedly they compiled a new set of moves, in the long-running, turn-based game that they had been playing with just enough for the last couple of centuries. One last move. Even partially blinded, they could tell that Probably Better's energy signature was near. The irony of a highly efficient fusion reactor was that it couldn't be overloaded or sabotaged in a final moment of heroic sacrifice. Any attempt to trigger a reaction would instead cause it to simply stop. There was no fight left, leaving Kudkil to hope that they had done some damage with the earlier assault. The network went silent. They were cut off. There was a physical sensation, a grasping at their hull that must have been larger armatures from Probably Better, rather than the swarm, and then all was motion. A mass driver, perhaps. The result was that they were registering a sudden acceleration, on a trajectory that would break them free of Enceladus and Saturn's orbits, and cast them out of the system. They had no way of signalling the network, or calling for help. A dozen of the swarm machines remained, moving their way through different circuits and structures, interfering with the possibility of self-repair. They hoped that their final message would reach just enough. A crippled, blinded, silenced megaship, containing one of the few superintelligences created by humans, moved at speed towards deep space. Thanks for listening. You can leave a comment and find loads more Triverse stories over on the newsletter at simonkjones.substack.com.